Ep8 Sports. I'm Noah Powell. First up, I just show some love to my C's, sweeping the Sixers to put an official end to the process. But besides that point, this week's topics are basically the NBA and the NFL for exciting things, so that is what I'm going to stick to in today's episode. With that being said, this week's topics are the new young stars in the NBA, Pandemic P, Earl Thomas being cut from the Ravens, NFL's false positives, and a tribute to Kobe Bryant and Gigi Bryant on 8/24. Let's get our timers ready, and give me 5. So a lot of talk about these young stars in the NBA, but all we could say first is the NBA is in great hands. First up, we have 21-year-old Luka Doncic posting a 43-point triple-double along with 17 boards and 13 assists, and a buzzer beater against the Clippers. Amazing performance. Next up, we have Donovan Mitchell and Jamal Murray, both 23 years old. Mitchell posting 51 points and Jamal Murray posting 50 in the same game. First time ever that ever happened in playoff history, 2 players to drop 50 points, and only the 6th time in NBA history. Donovan Mitchell has also made more history with this being his 2nd 50-point game, and he joins Michael Jordan and AI with only players to do that in NBA playoff history in the same series. He had 57 in Game 1. And also, got to show love to Jason Tatum, 22, and Jaylen Brown, 23 years old. Tatum posting 27 and 10 in the series against the Sixers, and Jaylen Brown posting 21 and 6. All amazing. The NBA is in great hands, and this is just from the playoffs. We have other great young talent who didn't make it this far. On the other end of the spectrum, we got Pandemic P, Playoff P, Paul George, whatever we want to call him. He has not been around at all, and has been a liability for the Clippers. Part of the reason why they are tied in the series. He's almost like the guy from Remember the Titans, Ryan Gosling's character, the corner, but he's in basketball form. First 3 games, Paul George is putting up 17 points per game on 29% shooting from the field and 23% from the arc. Then he came and said he's not James Harden. He goes through slumps, but he provides on other sides of the court, and he'll get better. He's a great defensive player. And then in Game 4, Luka's 43-point triple-double, he went out and shot 9 points, 3 for 14 from the field, 1 for 7 from the arc, and ended up 11 points leaving him at 11 points per game and 21% from the field for this series. He's the first player to shoot under 25% in 3 straight playoff games since Bob Cousy in 1960. Paul George, where are you? You might just be a fraud. Next up, we have Earl Thomas cut from the Ravens. He was cut from an altercation with his teammate Chuck Clark. Supposedly, this altercation started with Earl Thomas blowing his coverage, Chuck Clark getting angry, throwing his helmet down, getting each other's faces, and ended with Earl Thomas throwing punches. Then, Ravens have decided to cut him, and luckily may get away with voiding their contract because they're filing a grievance, which is within their contract. But this is a very interesting situation because Earl Thomas has had a very tumultuous past couple of years, from the flipping off Pete Carroll and the Seahawks, going to sign with the Chiefs and bailing for the Ravens last second when they outbid them. But then we have support coming from Deshaun Watson, Jalen Ramsey, Richard Sherman, all saying that he's an amazing guy both on and off the field, and they wish him nothing but the best and can't wait to see him back out there. Also interesting to see that he was cut after a fight. He's been doing other things wrong in Baltimore, like being late to meetings, but usually scuffles happen all the time. They cut him immediately. I think there's something under the table, or behind closed doors that we don't know what's going on. Next, we have NFL false positives. This past weekend, there were 77 false positives, which is more than all the players that opted out to Corona this season, which is 3% of the current NFL population. And this has included star players like Josh Allen. All had to miss practice, but every single test came back negative, so they're all false positives. This has been traced back to New Jersey, the case. But what is bad about this is the season's right around the corner, and you need to be able to trust the test and the results that are coming back. And if players or staff can't trust what these results are, how can you perform a season with a national pandemic going on? Also, this is bad for the country if we don't know if these people are flying around the country and potentially spreading this virus. NFL's got to figure this out fast. I don't know why the NBA could do these tests just fine, MLB's doing it fine, why can't they? So last but not least, I'd be remiss if I did not have a segment on Kobe Bryant and Gigi Bryant on 8/24. Kobe Bryant was inspiration to us all, and me, myself included. Tonight, the Lakers will be honoring him on 8/24 wearing a limited edition Mamba jersey. And in order for me to honor him, I'm taking 34 seconds off today's episode to honor Kobe and Gigi Bryant for adding up their numbers, 8/24 and 2. And on that note, there it is. So a more somber ending to my usual episodes, but still would love you guys to comment, hear about Pandemic P, hear about all things sports that's going on. And that's 5.